Have you ever watched a cat curl up by the window, blink slowly in the sun, and wonder why this quiet creature once ruled an entire civilization? Tonight, let's leave behind the noisy world and drift gently into a story from long ago. A tale filled with golden temples, flickering oil lamps, soft purring in sacred halls, and a mystery wrapped in fur. This isn't just a history lesson. This is a relaxing historical story, one where the whispers of the past blend with candlelight and silence. A story where cats were not just pets, but protectors, symbols, even gods. So settle in, let the day fade, pull your blanket close, close your eyes if you wish, and follow me back to the sands of ancient Egypt, where a simple creature became something more. Have you ever wondered why the ancient Egyptians worshipped cats with such reverence? Why, among all the creatures they encountered, mighty lions, sacred crocodiles, powerful falcons, it was the humble house cat that earned a place not just in their homes, but in their hearts, their temples, and even their tombs. Tonight, in this sleep story for adults, we're about to wander back thousands of years, not to battlefields or grand palaces, but into sun-warmed courtyards, quiet reed huts, and moonlit alleyways where small paws padded silently through the dust. This is a journey not of kings or gods, but of the curious, patient, purring creatures who quietly reshaped a civilization. So, dim the lights, get comfortable, and let this gentle storytelling take you back to the banks of the Nile, where a purr once meant protection and a meow could move the heart of a pharaoh. Long before Cleopatra's eyeliner became legend, before the pyramids cast their long shadows across the desert sand, there was a story, one whispered by river winds and carved into temple walls. It began not with an empire, but with a problem made of grain. You see, grain was the lifeblood of Egypt. The very heart of their civilization pulsed through the silos and baskets of wheat and barley stored away after each harvest. And with that grain came enemies, not soldiers, but something smaller, sharper, and infinitely more persistent: rats. In the cool stillness of an early morning, a farmer named Kessie, her feet bare, her back stooped, would rise to check her grain stores, and each time she would find a little less than the day before: scratches in the clay, tiny droppings along the woven floor mat, the occasional torn sack. She had no army, no magic, just tired hands and hope that the rats would move on. But they didn't. Then, one night, under a sky heavy with stars, something changed. Kessie heard a sound, a quick patter, a soft hiss, a sharp squeak, and silence. When she lit her oil lamp, there in the corner was a small creature, lithe, watchful, tail curled like a question mark, eyes gleaming in the firelight: a cat. That night, the cat stayed. So did her kittens. And by the next moon, the rats were gone. Word spread faster than the Nile's floodwaters. A house blessed with cats was a house safe from hunger. A granary guarded by cats meant a winter with full bellies. Soon, cats were not just tolerated, they were welcomed, pampered, protected. Villagers left scraps in clay bowls. Children gave them names. Priests saw omens in their eyes. And slowly, reverence took root. It wasn't long before stories were told, not just of cats catching mice, but of divine cats, mighty ones, protectors of the home, avatars of watchfulness and grace. The goddess Bastet emerged, half woman, half feline, with a sistrum in her hand and a gentle, ferocious love for humanity. And just like that, a new kind of sacredness entered Egyptian life, one with whiskers. As this relaxing historical story continues, we'll follow the rise of Bastet's cult, the royal obsession with felines, and even what happened when harming a cat became not just a crime, but a national disgrace. So stay with me, as we quietly unravel the threads of a civilization wrapped in fur, mystery, and quiet power. Because in ancient Egypt, cats weren't just animals. They were symbols, protectors, family. And tonight, in this bedtime history, we'll let their story lull us gently to sleep. It is late afternoon in the quiet city of Bubastis. The sun hangs low in the sky, casting long amber shadows across dusty stone streets. Clay pots, stacked neatly along the alleys, still hold the warmth of noon. Somewhere in the distance, a market begins to close, its stalls wrapped gently in linen, while the scent of spices and dried fish lingers in the air like memory. And in the very heart of it all, near a worn marble step, beside an old temple wall, lies a cat, small, still, and silent. Her fur the color of dusk, a mix of soft gray and warm brown brushed with the dust of time. Her eyes, half-lidded, shimmer like polished onyx as she stretches, not in fear, not in haste, but with the slow, deliberate grace of something eternal. She is not wild, she is not owned, but everyone here knows her. Her name, if she has one, is whispered by old women who sell herbs and by little boys too young for scrolls. There she is again, they murmur, the Watcher. The priests of Bastet say she is a sign, the merchants say she brings fortune, and the mothers leave small bowls of goat milk outside their doors, just in case. In this gentle sleep story for adults, we pause here, not to witness battles or kings, but to rest in the company of a cat whose presence holds more meaning than power ever could. Because to the people of ancient Egypt, cats were never just companions. They were guardians, guides, spirits that slipped between worlds. A cat's purr, they believed, could calm the winds of a sandstorm. Its gaze could pierce the veil between the living and the divine. Children in Bubastis learned early, you never shout at a cat, never chase one, never turn it away, for it might be your grandmother's spirit returning to check on you. Or perhaps it is Bastet herself, curious, unseen, wandering through the village. And if a cat chose your home, they said, it was a gift, a quiet blessing from the gods, something sacred, something to protect. At night, the city grows quiet. Bubastis folds into itself like parchment, warm from the day, but now hushed. The stars blink slowly awake above the Nile's dark surface, and in that stillness, the cat moves, not with purpose, not with fear, but like mist slipping through reeds. She walks past shrines, past fig trees, past sandals left beside beds, and wherever she goes, people leave space, not out of fear, but out of respect. This was Egypt, where gods were many, and the borders between heaven and earth were like linen curtains, easy to lift, if only for a moment. And cats? Cats were woven into every layer of that mystery. In the temple of Bastet, high above the city, women gather under torchlight. Their voices, low and melodic, chant prayers not to be heard, but to be felt. The stone floor beneath their feet, still warm, the scent of lotus oil, clinging to the air. And there, curled beside the altar, lies another cat. Or perhaps the same one. No one knows. No one dares ask. A priestess once whispered that the goddess herself takes the form of a cat when she wants to walk among the living, unnoticed, unjudged, only observed. That is why in tombs, beside gold and scrolls and dried figs, you'll often find a mummified cat, wrapped in care, adorned with beads, its body preserved like a pharaoh's. Because in this land, to honor a cat was to honor balance and grace and things unseen. In this sleep story for adults, we remember that not all gods arrive with thunder. Some arrive on silent paws, leaving no footprints, only presence. A child once asked, "Why do cats never look you in the eye for too long?" And the grandmother answered, "Because they're listening to something else." And maybe that's true. Maybe, as we lie here tonight, listening to the soft breath of history, a cat somewhere listens too, watching us, waiting, protecting. Not loudly, not obviously, but always. There was a time, not so long ago, when people believed that to live well was to live in quiet harmony with the unseen. And in ancient Egypt, the cat became the heartbeat of that harmony, a soft rhythm between sun and shadow, between the beginning of breath and its final sigh. At dawn, before the market stirred, fishmongers would lay tiny scraps of fish beside their stalls, not for the buyers, but for the cats. Quiet offerings of gratitude, for guarding the grain, for keeping snakes away, for simply being there when the world was still. Children, cheeks round with innocence, would leave little bowls of milk at the doorstep. They believed, if a cat came to drink, their dreams that night would be safe, carried gently through the night on soft paws. Old men, wrapped in silence and memory, would sit by their doorways at dusk, slowly passing beads between their fingers. And when a cat brushed past their feet, they would not flinch, but bow their heads ever so slightly. Not in greeting, but in reverence, because the cat, unlike other animals, never begged to belong. She simply was. There were stories, not etched in scrolls, but whispered between breaths, of cats who saved children from scorpions, of cats who entered tombs and never came out, of cats who sat beside the dying, not meowing, just staying until the room was still. And always, they came without being called and left without being missed. Yet their absence lingered. It was this quiet loyalty, this sacred silence, that made them beloved. Not for grandeur, but for gentleness. Not for show, but for being. In this way, they became not just guardians of homes, but of stillness itself, of dreams, of peace. And that is why in this sleep story for adults, we don't just remember them, we feel them in the hush before sleep, in the warmth beside the fire, in the knowing that even now, even here, we are never truly alone. And so, as the candles flicker low in your imagination and the warm shadows settle into the quiet corners of this tale, let your mind wander just a little longer. Imagine a world where a simple creature could symbolize protection, love, and comfort. A world where cats were not only pampered, but revered, not for their power, but for their poise, not for their roar, but for their quiet. In ancient Egypt, they didn't worship cats because they were mighty hunters. They worshipped them because they embodied the kind of grace and calm that we humans often forget to carry. That same quiet presence lives on even now, curled up at the edge of your bed, or purring softly in the sun. Perhaps that's why this sleep story for adults feels so comforting tonight, because it isn't just about the past, it's about what we've carried with us, a memory of gentleness, a symbol of stillness, and a little reminder in a busy world to be more like the cat, still, aware, and quietly wise. If this sleep story for adults helped you feel a little more at peace tonight, if it gave your mind a place to rest, or simply kept you gentle company as you drifted off, tap that subscribe button. It's the easiest way to stay close to stories like this. We share quiet, calming tales every week, designed to help you unwind, relax, and sleep a little easier. A like lets us know this brought you comfort. And if you're still awake, feel free to leave a comment. Tell us where you're listening from, or what part of the story stayed with you. Thanks for making time to be here. Until we meet again, sleep well, dream gently.